Welcome everyone to episode 3 of CT Talks, Caltrans Tech. We are thrilled to bring you this really exciting topic and 4 passionate panelists who are really leading the way when it comes to innovation here at Caltrans. CT Talks is all about bringing you insightful conversations, connecting you with the people of Caltrans and the projects that they're working on. And let me tell you, these 4 are definitely passionate about what they do and have a lot of really great stuff to share. So thank you again for being here, and let me welcome our 4 panelists. We have Erin Chamberlain, who is a Senior Innovation Engineer, Sylvia Strackner, who is a District 8 Technology Coordinator, that's in San Bernardino, Ken Sutterfield, who's a North Region West Area Technology Coordinator, and Mark Counts, who is a Surveying Systems Office Chief. Thank you all for being here. So before we get started with our questions, let's give you an idea of who you're going to be hearing from today and give you a little background about where they started and where they are now. So starting with Erin Chamberlain graduated from Chico State University with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. He has worked his entire 17-year engineering career at Caltrans. His career began as a transportation engineer working in the division of construction, contributing to over 74 projects, totaling over $250 million in contract value, and that's in 13 counties across Northern California. Major projects he was involved in include the State Route 70 corridors and State Route 20 corridors. In 2017, Erin received his FAA Part 107 license. For those of you who don't know, that's the drone pilot license. And he has since conducted hundreds of missions and logged over 500 UAS hours. UAS is Unmanned Aircraft System, essentially drones. In 2021, Erin was promoted to Senior Innovation Engineer, where he is the lead trainer and UAS coordinator for the Division of Construction. He serves as the Automated Machine Guidance Trainer and is an active member of the UAS Safety and Field Operations Committee. He is also a standing member of the Caltrans IT Enterprise Architecture Committee, which reviews and evaluates all IT-related hardware and software that's being used department-wide. In 2022, he participated as the California representative on the Federal Highway Association Global Benchmark Study for UAS. This was published in September 2023, in case anyone wants to check it out. Erin is at the forefront of Caltrans innovation and represents the department in the ongoing acquisition of new technology and establishment of beneficial external partnerships. Welcome, Erin.
Panelist is going to be Sylvia Strackner. Sylvia has over 24 years of experience with Caltrans and is currently the District 8 Technology Coordinator. She has worked in the following departments: Hydraulics Unit, Design Unit, Constructability Unit, Structures Construction, and District Construction. During her time in construction, she has worked on many multi-million-dollar projects and has held many roles, such as Oversight Structure Representative, and Acting Resident Engineer, as well as assistant to these roles. She has also earned her resident engineer certificate while in structure construction. In addition to flying drones for various projects and providing construction support, she volunteers in the following programs: Caltrans Innovation Group, the District 8 Buddy Program, WTS, Women's Transportation Seminar Group, which this is a group that they support classroom for careers for young women, and as an instructor for District 8 construction boot camp classes. Welcome, and we're happy to have you here today, Sylvia.
Thank you for having me.
All right, next up we have Ken Sutterfield. So Ken grew up in the Sacramento Valley and attended Chico State University, earning a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering in 2010. Ken started his career in 2011 as a volunteer at Caltrans, working on construction inspection. In 2013, he transitioned to a full-time career as a consultant assistant resident engineer. He followed his 5-year consultant career around the North region of California, where he was a lead inspector, materials tester, and office engineer. In 2018, he accepted a full-time position with the Caltrans North Region Construction as a transportation engineer in Crescent City, where he was the lead inspector on jobs including Last Chance Grade, 199 Slater Fire, and Crescent City ADA. On his 6-month rotation to headquarters construction, he led the development of a safety inspection checklist application, and he assisted with other developmental efforts. In 2023, he transitioned to a role as the North Region Construction West Area Technology Coordinator. That is a mouthful. I'm glad it's NRC. Everything's shortened to acronyms here at Caltrans, where he is responsible for integration of new technology and equipment. His current focus is the implementation of UAS, which again is Unmanned Aircraft Systems, and GNSS, which is Global Navigation Satellite Systems. Really interesting stuff. Thanks for being with us, Ken.
All right, so last but not least, we have Mark Counts. Mark Counts is self-proclaimed, field-tested, and office-approved with over 18 years of land surveying experience. Mark has worked for large and small private architecture and engineering firms, local agencies, and currently working as a surveying systems office chief for Caltrans. In his spare time, he runs a community college program for Santiago Canyon College in Southern California, which offers an associate's and science degree in land surveying and mapping. 18 years into his career, Mark has surveyed on many different types of infrastructure projects, including subdivisions, highways, railroads, utilities, high-rise structures, bridge structures, public land cadastral, and more. He is also versed in many of the current surveying technologies used to get the job done, including digital applications, total stations, data collectors, GNSS, which is the Global Navigation Satellite Systems receivers, handheld, static, and mobile LiDAR scanners, and the UAS unmanned aerial systems. Welcome and thank you for being here, Mark.
All right, so with that, we will get going with our questions. We prepared 4 to 5 questions, depending on how much we get through. So let's jump right in. I'm going to start with Aaron. Can you tell us one of the highlights of your Caltrans career?
So overall, working on some of these really large corridors over, multiple year periods of time. So in particular, I would say one of the highlights was the Highway 20 corridor that's between Marysville and Grass Valley. I think I worked on that stretch for about a 5-year period of time. That was really rewarding. We had all kinds of interesting situations up there. We had, controlled blasting, large amounts of controlled blasting, where I think one of the larger blasts we did where almost 80,000 pounds of explosives were used on one very large explosion that was done there, a controlled blast that was meant to break up very hard rock up in the area. So that, those experiences really give you a lot of insight into, exactly what happens out there in the field, and then how we can, now my role here is to try to make the experiences that our field staff have better, give them better tools to do their job safer, more effectively, more efficiently, and what have you.
Awesome. Sounds like some really interesting stuff. Blasting and all kinds of stuff. You're just working with the high-tech stuff, doing crazy things. That's cool. Ken, same question to you. What's one of your highlights of your Caltrans career?
To spend a lot of time up on Last Chance Grade, which is a rather active stretch of road. So I think the most exciting thing I got to be part of is stopping traffic when a slide decided to express itself. So this new position has been exciting, in that I'm getting to take these experiences from these difficult situations like landslides and fire recovery and start to implement new technologies.
Nice. I love that both of you kind of talked about your field experience really really impacts what you're doing now. It's you have that experience, so you can really speak truly to how it's going to have those positive impacts. That's cool. Sylvia, same question to you. What's been one of your highlights of your Caltrans career?
So I think one of my highlights in my Caltrans career was back when I was in structures construction. I was an assistant structure rep. We had the Bi-County project, which was on the 215. It was a multi-million-dollar project, and it was actually a 6-span railroad bridge, and it had 98,000 bolts per span, high-strength bolts per span. So that was constructed off-site, moved down the freeway a quarter of a mile on SPMTs. SPMTs are self-propelled modular transports, and it was very cool to kind of see. So that had, that happened over like a 3-weekend period, 16-hour shifts. So my job was basically, I was the main inspector on site, and then I had to devise a way to kind of keep track of all these high strength bolts, and because they all needed to be torqued to a certain, pound per pressure. So that was a really neat part of my structures construction portion. And that happened back in 2014. So that was quite a bit ago.
Wow, but it stuck with you. That sounds pretty
It
cool.
stuck with me. Yeah. So that was those spans were 200 feet in length, and there were 6 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a big railroad bridge that we gave 3 tracks to.
Wow. Incredible. Mark, last but not least, what has been your highlight? I'm sure there's many, one of your highlights of your Caltrans career. I can't really hear you, Mark.
You gotta learn how to use the tech, right? I mean, here we go. Is that better?
Much better. Yeah.
That's better. Okay. Yeah. It's one of those things when you're working at Caltrans, at least this is my experience, it seems like every week brings a new problem to solve. And as the problems get more complex and challenging, the list of projects you're proud of being a part of just continues to grow, right? And so I'm just going to take one off of the current project I'm working on. So this isn't a project development project, but this is a system-wide project that I'm working on right now. And what we're focusing on is developing more interoperability between data platforms, so software applications. And what's neat about this project is that we are working with software partners from all over the world to solve a problem that's been in existence for over 20 years, 30 years maybe, where, as we're getting more and more pieces of this problem solved as a global community, and Caltrans is leading this effort, as we're doing that, I'm getting all kinds of feedback, man, like one surveyor was almost in tears as they realize the sort of solutions that we're bringing that won't just benefit Caltrans, but it's going to benefit the world. And so this interoperability between software applications, it's kind of like, think about like this, Harry. Remember back in the day when you had, we all were using word processors for the first time in our life, right? And then you might have WordPerfect, but then Laura's got Microsoft something, right? We got all the different, we couldn't share data. Remember how frustrating that was? DOS-based programs. That's how A&E's been as far as software applications go for the last couple of decades. And we're actually solving that problem literally as we speak. Aaron and I were just working on it this morning. So that's what I'm most proud of right now. But ask me again in a month and it might be something else, because we never ran out of problems to solve here. You know what I'm saying?
Love it. Great highlights. Thank you all for sharing. I'll let Laura kick to the next question.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody, feel free to use your emojis. I think you should be able to find your button there. If anything resonates with you, you want to send some thumbs up to some of our speakers, feel free to do that.
Party hats.
There you go. Awesome. So I will start with the next question. What new innovation are you most excited about? And I will begin with Ken.
The innovation that I'm most excited about is the innovations that are happening right now in workplace lighting. We've gotten the opportunity to kind of work with some of the manufacturers in the area, and we're getting to see some of the new technology coming out and piloting that in workplace lighting. We got the opportunity to demo and see what tethered drone lighting systems can do for us. And from my experience with Last Chance Grade, our biggest struggle on like an emergency response or something of that nature is trying to get effective lighting to be able to see what's going on and be safe. And these new lighting systems are capable of lighting football fields at a time. And so probably the most exciting thing that I've had the opportunity to be part of.
Awesome. And I believe Harriet has a video up of what you just were speaking about. If you want to talk a little bit more what we're looking at here, Ken.
Yeah, so this was a demo we got to be part of in an urban environment. So they're doing some striping work, and the lighting that's there is our traditional street lighting, which barely meets the specifications. And then we were able to put up just a single drone, and increased the lighting dramatically to levels that I've never really seen a contractor effectively do with trailer mounted lighting.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And Ken, do you remember how many lumens this is by any chance? I think we talked about it in some of our pre-briefing meetings. Do you recall
This
that?
unit was rated at around 100,000 lumens.
Yeah, 100,000 lumens just sounds so crazy. Wow. That is super awesome.
Did you want me to share the other one from last week as well? Just to show a different perspective?
Yeah, the one from last week, we were able to fly multiple units as we had more pilots available to us. And that's the place that we're really excited to kind of take it, is it's not just a spotlighting, it's something that we can string together and provide this consistent lighting. The thing that I observed is the lighting angle really makes it to where there's not glare in traffic, there's not shadowing. It's really kind of an opportunity to change the way that we light for safety.
Not that I'm one of the panelists, but if I can share, I was invited to come out and watch this launch. Thank you again for that. And it was absolutely incredible, just from a kind of bystander perspective, to see the difference from the floodlight that everyone's used to using to when these were up in the air. It was literally, you can see it looks like daylight in that little strip in the middle. It was absolutely incredible.
We're only seeing
We're seeing your folder, not the video.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Watch, I'm looking at it all amazed and not as impactful. Gosh. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me start again. Look how cool this is. Got it now? Okay, wow. It built up the anticipation to see it, really. It was all intentional. But yeah, it was absolutely incredible just to see how bright it was. And Aaron, I think you were explaining to me, usually there's shadows cast when they're trying to work on different things. And can you speak a little to that about like the difficulty?
Typically, the one thing that, I know Ken and I noted out there was, with traditional light towers, you get a lot of shadowing, especially on, this particular application. They were actually pouring like an hour after we left. They were starting to place concrete out on these new PCC sections of highway on Highway 50 there. Normally when you're looking at a rebar mat like that, we've got pieces of rebar sticking up. There's all kinds of things that, can be a hazard to, the workers as they're out there getting ready to place concrete. You don't see any of the shadowing. So that's one of the traditional things you'd see with a light tower is you'll have this light tower that is, set up, basically, tangent to the work. And you get all these shadows that come off of the formwork and they can't actually see what they're doing. Maybe where their face is, they've got a lot of light, but down on the ground, they've got a shadow from a form or something like that, and they can't see. Versus getting the light up in the air, 150 feet, makes a big difference.
Yeah, for safety measures. All right, so on the second question, Sylvia, would you like to add anything to that? What new innovation you're most excited about?
I'm excited for the tethered light. I think that would be really, handy for District 8. So we're definitely looking into that and would love to get, some down here. I think it can only really help in the safety factor of it all. The other thing I'm interested in, just with where this drone program is going, there's so much that we can do, and it can be really exponential. And what these guys have already done, I'm impressed with. So just, with the earthwork and the Pix 4D and just, all of the data that we can possibly collect and then manipulate it and do something with it, I think can really be beneficial, not just for project documentation, but for the contractor and Caltrans and, really with the quantities. So I'm excited. So we just keep learning. We just keep learning and looking out for new things.
Absolutely. How about you, Mark? Anything you want to add here for any innovation that you're excited about?
Sure, 100%. So this is something that Office of Land Surveys and Division of Construction has been working on collectively. And so what we're looking at, all these little nodes, these are all what's called a continual operating reference station. And And as you can see, it's fairly dense. I think, Aaron, what are we at? Are we at 80% coverage right now? Is that kind of what we're pushing?
I'd like to get closer to 90, but we do have some old stations out there that are old GPS only that really need to be thrown out of the network and upgraded to something newer.
So each one of these nodes right here is collecting data 24 hours a day.
That's great.
Collecting GPS data, providing correction data. And this is what allows, for Aaron or me or Ken, if we want to get out there with an RTK-based drone and get survey quality data capture and really bring it in. This is the sort of non-sexy infrastructure that people don't talk a whole heck of a lot. But there's a lot of quiet innovators. I'm going to throw one name out there, Christopher Thornton. I got to do a little name drop in there yet. So I'm going to throw Christopher Thornton, and we're going to throw Eric Agnew out there. And there's a handful of others that are these kind of ninja innovators that you probably will never see their name posted on a web page, but they're the ones that are monitoring and building these stations for us. And because of their hard work and their innovation, including it, now it's part of the project delivery process. It can be included in an AMG project as part of the project delivery. That's an innovation in itself. So you build it on a project and then you get 10 years of use out of it, Harriet. That's pretty wild, right? So for a little bit of investment up front, I saw Dustin Ladd on the call. I know Dustin's really enjoying this down in District 8, aren't you? And so is Sylvia in the construction department down there as well. So this is one of the things, it's kind of a non-sexy thing, but it provides sexy value. Let's just put it that way. Did I say sexy? Is that right or no? Is that terrible? I'll stop.
I love it.
Tell me, Laura. Yeah, I'll stop right now.
Thank you all so much for the insights on that. So I'll hand over the next question to Harriet.
So my next question, we had the great opportunity to go out to the American River Bridge project, and there was a lot of talk about collaboration with the partners, from a contractor's perspective, but we kind of talked a bit more about partnerships with, acquiring some of this new technology. Aaron, do you want to speak to that? Kind of what you guys are, how you're establishing these partnerships? I know you're saying going from vendor to partner was kind of a process. Do you want to speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, I mean, not so much on the UAS standpoint because those are more commoditized. I would say more on the data interoperability piece. That's, again, that's a piece that I think we're really innovating on quite a bit, is kind of reevaluating those relationships. So, I mean, a great example of that is we've been a customer, a client of Trimble since 1988. So we've been buying their gear for years and years and years. But only recently have we kind of really reapproached those relationships. Again, these things are all competitively bid, so there's nothing weird going on there. We're not, making backhand deals or anything like that with anybody. But it's just reapproaching the relationships that we have with these partners, and trying to get, be this kind of lead client that can kind of serve as a conduit for them to work together. Another good example of this is we've got Skydio working with Trimble right now on data interoperability between their clouds. We're going to be doing a presentation for that actually at the Trimble Dimensions show, which is in a couple of weeks here, just showcasing that, there's new connections that are being made and new technology that exists that didn't exist a year ago. And a lot of those are being driven by, requirements that, for example, we're setting out. Again, this isn't something that's just built for us, it's built for the whole world. So that's really an example of where Caltrans I think can really lead. Because we are such a large organization, 22,000 plus employees. I think our construction budget is like $12 billion. That's 5 or 6 times what most other states are, maybe more.
No, it's great to hear that we are kind of pushing the envelope, given that we're so large and we have those opportunities. And also, nice plug for your Trimble presentation. That's cool. Mark, you would express a lot of passion around these external partnerships and establishing and maintaining. And can you speak a bit to that as well?
Sure. So we've kind of collected a handful of sayings over the last couple of years working together in this space. And one of them is, act like a vendor, be seen as a vendor. Act like a partner, be seen as a partner. That's one of the phrases that we found to be true. And so what we've done is we've tried to, I think this old mantra, right? One size fits everybody, everywhere, all the time. That's going to be one of our biggest challenges, I think, as Caltrans, as such a large organization. We have so many rich standards and policies and procedures. But some of those are stuck to this idea that one size fits everyone all the time, everywhere. And what we're finding in this new evolving landscape, this digital landscape, is that that doesn't always work. And in fact, one size doesn't fit everybody all the time, everywhere. And so that is specifically true in the space of partnerships. They're not all vendors. And so we're having to go through that process. That's part of our innovation, is challenging our presuppositions to say, okay, well, what constitutes a vendor and what constitutes a partner? And someone on this line might be saying, Mark, this is crazy. That's just a nuance. No, it's not. The way we see people impacts the way we treat people, and the way we treat people impacts the output we get from those relationships. And so what we've been experimenting with successfully, I might add, is that as we've challenged our presuppositions on how we're going to see people dependent on the level of partnership they can provide, it actually impacts how we treat them and then impacts the output. And we've seen output the last couple of years in ways that we haven't seen probably in a decade. Is that how?
Yeah,
Laura, does that
absolutely.
make sense? I know, Laura, I know people are really important to you, Laura. Did you want to, because you're also an innovator in this space as you're connecting with people and trying to do things like this podcast. Did you want to add anything to that, or?
No, I just appreciate everything, your insights, everything you guys are doing. I'm just proud to be part of the team.
Awesome.
So, and then Ken and Sylvia, you guys kind of bring a different perspective, being you're the innovation, you're trying to push that more for the districts, right? So can you speak a little to that? I mean, do you deal a lot with external partnerships, or are you more the technology is acquired and you're trying to establish it as a primary use within the districts, within Caltrans?
Yeah, I mean, our partnerships within the district are just a little bit different. So I would like, my partnership is with Aaron and him getting the devices and then me pushing it out through the district wide, for District 8. Just, our partnership with surveys, with construction field staff, really trying to get them just involved and embrace what the drones can actually do for them. Not only just the drones, but, we've got other devices, we've got our iPads, and we've got other programs that we can use. And it's just being there to support, the construction staff and help them, just be a little bit more innovative. We've got some great programs going on right now, and just, I really want them to just kind of know that we're here and we can help them. So it's just not partnerships, it's our partnerships with inside of our own division. And then Aaron's been great, working with Aaron and these other guys have been really great, just helping us out here, just kind of push it along, because we've gotten some great RTK units, AMG units, and just really helping the construction staff do what they need to do. And I think that the REs are kind of appreciative of these new AMG units that have come around, just to help with, their work out in the field.
Nice little plug too. So if anyone in District 8, San Bernardino, needs some tech, you know who to come to. Sylvia's your
I'm
guest.
here for you.
Love it.
Yeah,
Ken, how about you? Yeah.
I share very similar sentiment to Sylvia in that I look at it as kind of being the liaison from our boots on the ground to headquarters, and how are we trying to use the tech? What other tools do we need? And then when Aaron needs that gap closed between what's the field doing and the vendors, that's kind of the tool where we jump in with the external partners, is this particular use case that we've been seeing. And the other direction goes is that, like, in that local aspect, just like Sylvia said, like, we're working with whatever other functional units that are in the area, like environmental or surveys or just our standard field staff, and providing training. That's the majority of what we do, is the providing the equipment and field staff. And then as we need help closing the informational gap between these other functional units, sometimes our field staff doesn't exactly understand some of what surveys is providing them with, and we can help kind of close that technology gap when survey says, hey, we're going to come out with the MTLS to do this. This is going to be the best thing. That we can come through and say, hey, this is the mobile terrestrial LiDAR scanner. And this is one of our new techs that can really help speed up what you're looking for. Same thing with our UAS when they come out and they say, hey, we've got this new one. It's going to replace our traditional workflow. And you can explain it to the people who haven't had the opportunity to keep up on everything as they're overworked and understaffed.
Sure. So giving everyone the opportunity to acquire it, right? You're almost like the internal Caltrans translator of the tech and the salespeople, right? You're like pushing it like, you need this. We should be using this. It's good stuff. Awesome. Thank you.
Can I build on what Ken just said? I think a little history could be helpful because we're talking about, like Erin and I, we wake up every day, and I think Ken, and I'm thinking Sylvia from the little bit I got to know her, it's like you get the golden ticket, right? Like, how do we get so fortunate and lucky to work where we work? But I want to give a little history on this whole AMG thing for everybody, because if you're listening, you're like, man, do I want to work there? Do I not want to work there? Erin started off in one of my classes, right? Learning how to use this stuff. And Caltrans is like this, okay? When there's a good innovative idea, there's a good return on the investment for the public, Caltrans is all in. And so just the fact this conversation's happening where you're hearing, like when I met Erin, there was no one pushing AMG equipment out. Heck, Erin, we had a hard time just getting 3 REs to show up for a class that I taught, right? I'm going to go to a class taught by a surveyor to use a voodoo stick? No way. You got to be kidding me. This is voodoo. I'm not doing that. I had one person tell me early on, my boss made me do this, right? But this is what's brilliant about Caltrans, is that as we pressed in and we had executive buy-in and we had buy-in from the local executives, we kept pressing in, and as we pressed in together, folks like Aaron Chamberlain had an opportunity to emerge and grow and develop into the powerhouse he is. Same with Sylvia and same with Ken, right? These folks got an opportunity to emerge from a particular application of their field that they didn't have access to. Caltrans provided them that access, and now look what they're doing with it. They've got coordinators all across the state. I don't even want to, I don't think I can tell you how many units they're pushing out. And the program's robust and it's growing. But 3 years ago, it was barely a twinkle in my eye, right? And so that's what rules about Caltrans. We can press into these things. In about 3 years, you can have a statewide system fully supported and growing. That's incredible. I've never worked at a place that can offer that sort of exponential growth. I can know myself. Sorry, I had to put some background because I was there at the very beginning of this. I had to share that with everybody.
No, that's amazing to hear that this is all, a 3-year establishment. And like you said, it was very early days. And here we are with the representation.
More than that, Mark. That was back in 2018. So that was 5 years now.
Well, when we first started talking about it, yeah. But I'm just so proud of this team here. I mean, how, like Aaron Chamberlain is fearless. Ken's fearless. The little bit I've seen of Sylvia, fearless. They press into this stuff. And without folks like them, we're not going to get this innovation. And without executives, like I think Devin Poor's on the call, who's Aaron's boss, without executives that are like, Aaron, I got your back. We're in this together. And that's what rules about Caltrans. You've got high quality innovators, many different levels pushing this stuff through. And then our district supporters that are willing to try it and try new things and go through the growing pains and then experience the success. I mean, it's an amazing opportunity to work here.
Phenomenal. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for sharing the insights. I will say, chatting with you guys and then meeting those that we met last week on the different projects, you can almost see the enthusiasm in their eyes. Everyone is so geeked on this in the best possible way. Like it is so thrilling to see. Just you're super engaged in it. You guys want more. You're like hungry for more. And it's like, what better way to be, literally living one of the values of Caltrans of innovation. Like we talk about it all the time, right? We always want to get out Caltrans innovative. This is like, you guys are literally at the forefront of this. And so it's been great to get to know you and see this side of it. And we're so glad to be sharing it with other folks today because it's really inspiring to see and really phenomenal to witness. So thank you. Thank you again.
I agree, absolutely. Just going out to the field trip, like you mentioned, Harriet, and just out there with them and meeting everybody and just feeling the energy from them all and the passion is truly inspiring.
And the knowledge, my gosh, you guys are so, so technical. Anyway, sorry, just had to add
Super
that in.
exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I have to give, props to Aaron. He really helped out District 8, with a lot of AMG units. So I've been able to kind of disperse them, through various parts of, our San Bernardino and Riverside County, all the way up in Hesperia to all the way down in Riverside. So, and I think that the REs have been really appreciative of that piece of equipment. So we definitely always are welcome to more training down here. So I know that we're working on that. For our District 8 people. And, but yeah, I can't thank you enough for getting us the equipment, because I'm getting more requests for more REs to have some more and use it.
That's good. That's what we want to hear.
I love it. I love all the collaborative support. That's what we're about at Caltrans, and being part of the Caltrans family. It's awesome. So thanks.
Again, I think that's like one of the innovations that's really happening here. It's more the people part. I mean, Mark, you can give a good example of that, right? I guess Devin, so Devin, who's on this call, his old position, and then your old office chief used to go in, and this is 6-7 years ago, like they'd have screaming matches at each other over like the way to do things now. And, and now we're to the point where we have monthly collaboration meetings. That's just a standing meeting between divisions where the Office of Land Surveys gets together and Division of Construction gets together and works on, things that we need to do. We have so much work that overlaps. And how do we better work together rather than, stay in these divisions and, throw work across the fence at each other, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it goes beyond even just work. Like I've got a mentor session today with one of the leaders from the Division of Construction. Right. And so it's going just beyond the work. It's like we're kind of doing life together on some level. I don't want to sound corny, Harriet, but it's very much like that, where I can meet with a leader from Division of Construction on professional growth, and that's happening later today. So
great.
Our partnerships are more than paper partnerships. Let's just put it that way. They go deep, right? They extend outside of office hours because we've learned to care about each other, which again, the way we see each other impacts the way we treat each other, which impacts the work that comes out of us.
Absolutely agree. Awesome. All right, great. So I will head off the next question. What role does technology play in transportation? And I will start with Sylvia. I know, Sylvia, you submitted a video. Do you want to answer first or have us play the video?
I'll answer first. So I think for us down here, safety has really been a factor of that. How can we use the technology, the drones, for instance, to inspect in a safe manner? So just with that, the safety, and then access, how can we gain access? And the drones have played a very, very important part. So the video that you're about to see, I don't know if you're going to bring it up, if Laura's going to bring it up. So this was up on State Route 189 when we had the heavy snowfalls back in March of this past year. And access was really limited to the Arrowhead people. We had these maintenance crews work so very hard up there to try and clear the roads for the residents to have access. This particular drone flight, I was called out for an emergency purposes, and just even to be able to get up there was a challenge and get past the road closures. And I was only ever able to get this drone flown up once, only because you can see them it's very close to the trees. I've got power lines. The weather was not all that great, but I got it up once, and that was it, because then the fog rolled in very quickly, and then we couldn't get it up again. And at this point in time, they had removed almost 8.2 million cubic yards of snow from this area of the state. And then a few more days later, they removed over 12 million cubic yards. So, I mean, up in our local mountains, this was really a big ordeal. And while we were even up there, they were bringing up more trucks with supplies, more equipment. And so we were able to capture this. So what we did with this footage is that it was sent to PIO. It was published on Twitter. It was published on Facebook. It was published wherever they could possibly get it on the news so that people, the general public, would know what is happening up in the mountains. You know, everyone's so concerned we can't get up, we can't get up. Well, there's a very good reason why you can't get up. You know, they're working very hard at trying to clear the roads. So as a part of a role in construction and transportation, just to provide a service to, you know, to our general public and to let them know why things happen, you know, why the road is closed. These are the conditions up there. And they were very bad conditions for some time. So, and this was just one snippet of what was going on up there.
Yeah, that's an amazing clip there. Absolutely. So let me see. How about for you, Erin? What do you think? What role technology plays in transportation? What do you want to add?
I mean, my personal opinion is I think it's something that's going to become increasingly important. I mean, we're already seeing struggles right now with hiring, for example. They're just, you know, we're not cranking out enough engineers out of engineering school. Not that many people want to go into this field. It's becoming harder and harder to backfill positions. So, you know, if we can't throw people at the problem, you know, technology potentially represents another way that we can help our staff do more with less. You know, I can't tell you as a field guy how many different things that there was out there that I was supposed to be doing that there's just not enough time in the day for. You know, you only got, you know, let's say you're out on a construction site, you got 10 hours out there. You got to do what you can do in 10 hours. If there's tools out there that can help you do what would take you 8 hours to do in 4 hours, that just freed up 4 more hours for you to go do something else, as an example.
Oh, here's another video Harry just put up too.
Yeah, this is just an example here of a point cloud that's been georeferenced. So this is kind of roughly what we're looking at as one of our deliverables for a digital as-built process. So these aren't files that are going to be designed off of, for example. They're more just for reference. But just a good example of the level of detail that you can get provided in a drone. And this isn't a video. This is actually a model rendering, and then it's a fly-through of that. So at any point in time, I can bring up that point cloud, and I can take detailed measurements off of that. Again, this is all
a good example
done in work conjunction with our land surveyor partners. And
there you go. Yeah, Aaron, what are those things on the side? What are those green?
So those are ground control points. So those specific points in this case have been set by our land surveys department and leveled through. So they're very accurate horizontally and vertically. And we use those as reference points to be able to then orthorectify the images. So the drone flies up above, it takes hundreds of images, and then each one of those using aero triangulation can calculate individual points. So each one of these little points that you see is individual pixels. So there's literally billions of pixels that are being used to recreate this model. And each one of those little green arrows represents a ground truthing point where that model is then rectified down to the ground. So again, want to just be very careful to mention that you know, both construction and surveys work very closely on these things because there are protected practices involved, specifically between land surveys, you know, between engineering and surveying disciplines. And that's something that we're very cognizant of during this entire process.
Yeah, just incredible looking at them, what you're able to see. And while you were speaking on that video, Aaron, I did put in the chat for anybody that wants to follow Aaron and Mark Counts. They're both on LinkedIn. I know that Aaron is always sharing some really great photos and imagery of what he's doing on the field. So really engaging and inspiring stuff to look at. So those links are in the chat now for you if you're interested in following the two guys. Let's see. So let's see. Aaron and Sylvia went. How about you, Mark? What do you want to add here? Like the role that technology is playing in transportation?
I think everyone really covered it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking for ways to do more with less.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're, so another little phrase we like to say is everything we do is done by people, for people, through people. We got to take the little nuggets we learn and put them in little bite sizes so we can remember them. And so technology in and of itself is not the answer. You know, what's the purpose of it? What sort of value is it adding? What's that return, right? And so things like the technologies that you've seen today, the tethered lighting drones, it's adding safety, right? And that's a huge return on investment. I think that's why Ken's so passionate about that. And some of this other stuff like that fly through you just saw, that's adding a safety component, but it's also adding, we're trying to do more with less. So instead of Aaron having to be out there with a cloth tape and trying to swing tie things to locate, different features that might not have been built according to the design, we can fly it once and be done, right? And then we can do what we want with it, and we can save a ton of time. So it's done for people, by people, through people. And so if technology isn't adding value for the people that are doing the work or the people that the work's being done for, then we have, we're not going to integrate it. But that's what guides us.
Love that. So Ken, just ending on that question, anything more you want to add here or want to speak on?
Not really. It's that trying to do more with less, like they said, and to try and do things safely. The thing that immediately comes to mind with the SUAS program that we've got going on is there's inspections that I would do for slides that put us in a hazardous place, but that was the safest way we had to keep the traveling public safe. And now we have these tools available to us to not only keep the traveling public safe, but to keep those of us that are trying to keep the traveling public safe as well.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that slide video that you had. Really, incredible just watching that. Absolutely. So, all right, awesome. So I'm gonna, kick it back over to Harriet. We're like about 12:48 right now. So Harriet, whatever you want to do next here.
A few questions in the chat. But then also I know there was some I don't know, toys that you guys wanted to showcase. Like Ken's got a whole sweet backdrop that I feel like I want to know a bit more about. And Aaron sent some pretty great footage of the new Skydio drone in the box. I don't know if you wanted to share any of that.
If you want to play that video, I can kind of describe what we're doing with that.
Okay, sure.
And why it matters. So the drone in the box system, if you can get that video up, is actually related to a US DOT SMART grant that Caltrans received earlier this year. We were one of 2 states that were awarded grants specifically for this task, so us and Alaska DOT, which has been kind of an interesting story because since that has happened, we've actually started collaborating on this. So I'm working directly with the Alaska DOT rep up there who's doing, effectively the same thing. But really what this is a drone that can live out on a construction site continuously. And this thing now can be flown remotely. So under our current FAA waivers that we're operating under, I still have to have a visual observer out on site. We do have the next round of waivers that we're working on that will allow fully autonomous, meaning this thing can literally be out there. Nobody needs to be out there and it can fly all by itself, either pre-programmed or under remote operations, meaning, I sit here on my laptop and click where I want it to do or where I want it to go, and it'll go and perform those functions. And again, this thing can be flown literally from anywhere in the world if that was what the operator wanted to do. So pretty innovative system. Range is a little bit limited right now. We can get about 3,500 feet of operational radius out of this particular system. Their next gen system will have significantly better range and significantly better sensors on board. So that'll be part of the iteration of the SMART grant will be to kind of take it to the next level with the new hardware as it's coming out. And again, this is one of those things that we're working directly with the manufacturer on and helping them, build, helping them improve their tools so that they meet our needs better.
Pretty wild. I remember you'd contacted me, when we were first setting this up, and you're like, hey, I'm going to do a flight. And I'm like, oh, you're going out to the site? No, I'm just sat at home or, sat in my spot and I'm just flying this thing and I'm watching this thing live stream. Like, this is incredible technology. Like, this is this is one of 2 operational systems that any DOT has right now. So Alaska DOT has an operational system right now as well. North Carolina has a few on order, but they haven't actually got their set up yet. PG&E is using about a half a dozen of these right now for substation monitoring. So it's
Not something that's in mass production yet. I think they only built about 350 of these units total, and about half of those are being used by the manufacturer actually as test articles. So
Pretty incredible.
relatively new technology. These things have really only been around for about a year.
And then Aaron, how can you explain to people how far away that port is from the job site?
So this is actually on the job site right there. So as you saw in that video, it's this specific site is actually a VRS station. So as Mark showed that map earlier, that was one of our continuously operating reference stations that we built as part of the construction contract, which is really convenient because it has power. So we're able to do this this drone in the box solution that oddly enough looks like a pizza oven out on the job site right there. So it is directly adjacent to the work. So it's about 150 feet from the bridge abutment.
Pretty wild.
So then the awesome part is this thing, again, it collects all this data autonomously, and it's got a Starlink antenna up on the roof of it. That information is transmitted back to us so we can do our, whatever we need to do with the photo and video later on, and nobody has to be out there. So, there's lots of other potential case uses for technology like this. If we have areas like, thinking of slides, we have areas of known slides, theoretically we can have a drone in the box system put out there. And, then, hey, we get a notice that there's a slide and maybe there's multiple slides that occurred in an area and you can't even access it. Well, now we've got a system that can actually go and give us eyes on that situation. So lots of case uses that are there.
It's pretty incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Ken, in a brief little, did you want to showcase your little toys behind you?
Area wants you to.
Most of this came from Aaron, so I've got, let's see here. I've got a FreeFly Astro, which is what we use for our construction site monitoring and trying to do quantities. I've got a Skydio 2 Plus, which I do for all of my GPS denied type operations where we have all the redwoods and we just can't really fly anything else there. So that's a visual navigation drone, and its collision detection allows me to operate in a lot of the places that I can't operate anything else. And then the next one over is a DJI Enterprise Advanced 2 Plus 2, I think it is. And it's what I'm currently using for night work inspections, as it's got a thermal imaging camera on it. And then at the far end is just a quick mock-up of a GPS rover.
Awesome. I mean, just that backdrop alone just shows the great stuff you guys have got going. That's awesome. I'm glad you had that display. That's nice. Thanks for sharing.
Welcome.
So Laura, we're looking at 5 minutes till closing. I'm seeing a lot of kind of detailed questions. I don't know if you saw anything that could be answered briefly, but it's looking like there's a lot of in-depth questions about like the lighted drones, the LiDAR usage. Looks like
Yeah, I saw Ken was in there too, I think, answering some of the questions.
Oh, nice.
Ken.
Sweet. So if anyone has any questions, our wonderful panelists have agreed for you to reach out to them if you have anything specific, if you want to ask, or you can always filter it through us. Let me put our slideshow back up so you can see our contact details. What an incredible just discussion. I feel even more inspired than I was before. Just knowing you all, it's really thrilling to get these insights. You know, technology is happening, you know that we're doing great things and you see these videos, but hearing it from you all, and as I said, we got to go out last week for a field trip and really get our boots dirty and get a sense of what it's really like out there. It's really inspiring stuff. So thank you for all that you do, pushing us forward with innovation and technology, being the advocates for us, like keeping Caltrans at the forefront. It's really, it feels really good to know people like you are leading this, because you're good people with the right minds, the right hearts on this stuff, and really are so passionate, so knowledgeable. We're in really good hands. We're in really good hands.
Area, as a heads up, I think Aaron's office might be hiring pretty soon. So if you want to jump ship and leave HR behind you and come over, I'm sure he'll train you. He's a good teacher.
Yeah, thank you all. It's really been just motivational just listening to you all and everything that you're doing, all your insights. It's just been kind of mind blowing to learn all this technology, like Terry was saying, and just excited to be a part of it.
Absolutely. So thank you again. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate the interest. There's been so much interest, so many questions coming in for this topic.
Yeah, I love
As I
it.
said, if you do have any additional questions on this topic, you can email us, dhr.communications@dot.ca.gov, and we will filter them through to the panelists and make sure you get those answers. If you have any suggestions for future topics, if there's an area of Caltrans you're particularly curious about, shoot it our way. We want to hear who you want to hear from, where you want to hear from. We are here to bring these excellent minds to the forefront and give them that platform. So again, we thank you for attending episode 3. Episode 4, date is still pending. We're looking at the beginning of December, but we're looking at an environmental focus. So empowering an eco-friendly culture and how that plays into transportation and the way we're moving forward. We're going to hear from some environmental scientists and those in cultural studies. So we've got some really cool stuff coming for the next one as well. So we hope you'll tune in. And when this WebEx closes, you will be prompted to give some feedback. We'd really appreciate it. It helps us to be better and to give you better content. So please take a few minutes. I think it's like 3 questions. So please take a couple minutes just to answer that, the feedback survey. We really appreciate it. Thank you again, everyone, for your time. Thank you to our phenomenal panelists. I feel like we've made lifelong friends from you guys. You can't get rid of us now. We're like, we know where the cool stuff's at. You can't get rid of us. So thank you again. This was really an awesome chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.